Oh, there it is. There it is. And we're live. We're live. We're live and we're back, baby. We are back to where I wanted to be, more or less, for this Mamireta stream, for the Kizu stream after this. I think we're golden. I think we're good to go, baby. Trials and tribulations have beset us here at VKH Live this week, but I prevailed. What the fuck is going on, people? Welcome to VKH Live for Mamireta edition. I'm going to blow smoke in the camera in honor of the vocalist. I gotta do it slower and more like nonchalantly, I guess. It looked like a smirk on my face and hunched over. Like that. Yeah, that was a nice stupid look on my face for that. Someone's gonna clip that, just you watch. Award to best meme of 2018 goes to this band's entire existence. Okay. Yep. Pretty much. So, Mamireta is I titled this stream Mamireta the band winning the internet, because I think they're so. First of all, this band is hilarious. Just everything they do is hysterical, and like their PVs, their looks, their song names, their album names. We're gonna go through it all, but I would say, I guess like the. But by the way, shout out to, let's see here. I gotta do shout out to Lady Bandicoot, I believe, for providing the art. More shout outs to Delta Spell for some top quality gifts for Streamlabs. If you guys want to post a Mimi message or a hot take on Mamireta, you can do that at the link below. But I was just gonna play the one that I picked for the default one, if it shows up here. Well cut, well clipped. Yeah, so this band is, in addition to like just doing a bunch of really funny stuff and not just generally having a not give a fuck attitude about like their music and about their general everything. They're doing some smart stuff online that I think a lot of bands, once they realize what's up, are going to they're gonna kind of like wake up and realize oh, we should probably be doing this a bit more. So let's go into the band itself a little bit, just do a quick little introduction. As well. So we have here are the members. So these are the members of Mamireta. On the left, we have the vocalist, whose name is Batsu. On the right, we have the guitarist, whose name is Ryusei. On the bottom left, we have the bassist, who is Karu, and on the bottom right, we have the drummer, which is Mirai. Now, so these guys haven't been in any other bands really. Definitely no like noticeable bands from like what I've seen. And like, you can kind of get that vibe from Mamireta, and it kind of adds to the charm because they have a very underground, heavy sound. It's very garage band kind of feel to it. I drew the comparison to like the much beloved now disbanded indie band Awoi, AWOI. It's like if they were like a satirical version of Aoi, and just like really didn't give like a flying fuck, but it's like that mixed with like this really underground garage band feel that it's just like, it's kind of charming. It's really charming. It's hyper charming. But then they're just, they're just kind of making music where they don't give a fuck to like a huge degree. I don't necessarily know if you would call it, like high quality or skilled but there's a method to the madness. I've noticed the song structures they're using, the ones that seem to go the most viral, seem to have the most poppy beats, which means that they're like the most alternative metal of the songs, I feel like. And there's a lot of, the vocalist is using his voice to his advantage, he kind of has like just kind of like a tenory smoker's voice to a certain degree, and he'll just kind of like ramble for like a lot of the verses, just like in like a more conversational almost tone, like he's constantly complaining or something like that, as opposed to actually singing. His singing is very gravelly as well, and then his screaming is very like strained and like deep, which it's just all kind of, it really does add to like this underground indie vibe that you just really, really get from it. You just feel like it's a local band that's just doing a bunch of like, fun stuff, fun catchy stuff, but there is some sort of method to the madness in terms of like, the songs that they're making that like really particularly land. It's definitely like some of the catchier ones. So there, I would say, especially in the instrumentation side and the composition side, there's some kind of clever, there's some clever stuff going on. But man, this band has had a really busy year. So I want to get into, like all the different releases that they've had. So let's kind of pop into that. We can really just kind of go through all of them in the band's existence, quite frankly, because, we'll just marathon it like they've been marathoning the singles themselves. So let's pull up, So, and then I will pull up my notes on this. Let me grab that. So first we had Tabatai, which is which was their first single. The PV for this was them eating. It's just like pigging out, like gathered around pigging out, and then like the footage being recorded over what was made to look like a security cam. It was very random. A solid song. I actually like this song a lot still. I'm trying to figure out exactly what it reminds me of. A lot of parts of this band do remind me of like a mixture of like newer Gazette in the sense that it's heavier, but older Gazette in the sense that it's more punk centric with pop style beats, like making the songs more engaging, and then just a wild don't give a fuck attitude. Like that was Indie Gazette for sure. And then if you look at some of their looks, you can tell Batsu in particular, the vocalist, is quite inspired by Indie Phase Rookie. Next they had Ojamashimasu, which I'm sure everybody knows, but it's, it's the very popular PV, and it's built around a fun hook where it's just like there's a knock and then a quick breakdown guitar riff, and they go back and forth like that, and then the vocalist goes ojamashimasu, or screams it at one point as well. Hyper catchy. You could tell that they knew that this was an absolute hit, because to this day I think that PV is the highest quality PV they've ever put out. And this was only their second single that they put out, but I think they knew that there was a certain virality to it, that there was a certain they knew it was going to be an earworm, even though it was so early in their career. And this was like the first smart move that they really did, was they went all out. They made like a really quirky, creative PV. The cuts are really nice in the PV. It's well edited. It's well shot. Just really highlights their quirkiness in general. It came out, let's see, it came out, a little over a year ago, October 1st, 2017, and it's sitting pretty at 618,000 views right now, my guys. So keep that in mind for the future, because for later on, because I'm going to go into something about that. So huge. That video went huge. Literally the second most popular is their Tabatai music video with 99,000 views. So that is the one that hooked everybody in, that put them on the map. That's how I found them. That's how a lot of people found them. Really big deal for their notoriety, for sure. So, okay, moving forward. Next, we had a 3-month, now we're jumping into 2018. They had a 3-month singles campaign. So you had Shin Kurasai. This one was kind of take it or leave it, but it was still but it's like they had a take it or leave it attitude about these singles. Like, this is where they go into like the more Mimi underground phase, or underground vibe that like you kind of get, and you can kind of tell from the PV quality, from the general not giving a fuck attitude of the band members in a lot of these PVs, the randomness, the some of the playing, the instrumentation is intentionally disorganized or kind of all over the place. It just feels like a rough, raw garage, again, like underground garage band is like the vibe that I could use to best describe these. So this one was pretty, was decent. I listened to all of these as well. They put it all on their album that came out, and we'll get to that. But next was Shin Mushi, and I believe this is the one where this one had another layer of funny meme-ness, because like the vast majority of the song is just him going, it's just it just goes da 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 ne ne da 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 ne. And like literally, like I would say good maybe half the lyrics or more is nes, just ne. Maybe not half the lyrics, but it's a lot of ne. And so that was hysterical. The vocalist again is very much in a not giving a fuck mood in the PV. Just kind of given like he does like some awkward break dancing during the heavy scream-filled breakdown. He's got like a bunch of like, I think, Band-Aids in his hair for this PV. It was quite funny. And then we had Shin Wakaran. Now, This song, like the not giving a fuck thing, like they tripled down on it for this one. I think the music video and the song in general are hysterical. They use like these like distorted guitars to have like this descending melody that like makes it feel kind of like quirky and demented, and then they alternate between like that and just like these really like deep and raw like guitar metal chords, like breakdown chords. Like you hear like this really dirty bass line as well. Just like everything about this is like that raw underground thing. And the video is hysterical because it's all the different band members, them like something happens to them usually near their face, and then they fall down on the ground, and it cuts to the promo footage of I think their tour at the time, which was it was like a promo footage, or like the promo image was like Batsu on the ground, like with the looking like he had the shit kicked out of him. He was bleeding from the nose, and he's just like he'd blacked out on a Saturday night and had just a really rough Saturday night. But it would be stuff like, someone would like, I guess, someone took one of those extendable robotic arms and pinched one of the members' noses, and then they just fall down dead. Batsu smells some panties and then falls down dead. I think Batsu's smoking and has cigarettes in his nostrils and his mouth at the same time, I think, and then falls down dead. It's just really random and really funny. Really can tell they're not giving a fuck. They're doing like these like crazy during like the intense breakdowns where they're growling. It's like you can see like the guitarist and the bassist are like just like kind of like randomly slapping on their guitar in the PV. It's very, very funny, very enjoyable. Yeah. So next up is they had their first full album, which was called, how should I say this? Should I just go all the way? Just like, Iku, Iku. It was called Iku. I don't need to go too deep into the meanings behind that, I don't think. But I would say someone on their team or on their roster maybe watches hentai confirmed. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. Anyway, moving on. So it had a lot of old songs. Past release songs, but there were also a fair amount of PVs that they put out for this. I listened through the entire album multiple times. I'm still listening to it. Very much enjoying myself. I think plenty of it is solid. I would say the vast majority of it is solid. I would say just just a lot of familiar tracks though, I think. Let me see here. What were some of the new ones? I almost feel like they had a PV for almost every new track that was on here. Daruma-san was on here. That's the one where they're playing in kimonos at the temple. That's where the photo that the fan art is using comes from. I think. What else is there? Kahan Shin Chudokusha is another one that's with all the shots of the city at nighttime, and they're that one looks especially underground. That one's a bit more of a serious one. Them trying their hand at maybe a more wistful song, still keeping in line with their rough underground kind of sound though. And then I guess another one was Boku ga Toketeku Kaeremichi. No bueno. Not good. Not good. I gotta work on that. My pronunciation, I mean. The PV for that one, I was like generally disinterested in. That actually got to descended to a level of like DIY PV making that I was like, nah, whatever. The song itself is fine. I would say there's a lot of tracks on here that are reused. What I was interested by is how well all of the songs flow one right after the other. I feel like you could honestly rearrange them in any general different way, and they are different songs. Don't get me wrong; it's not like they all sound like the same song, but they seem to be able to be rearranged in any way you would want them to be put in order to kind of get and you would get like a cohesive flow. It's almost like a playlist more than an album. But or it feels like that when you're listening to it, which is fine by me because it's all kind of the same mood, like the same mood of like don't give a fuck, kind of messing around, that kind of a thing. I find it very enjoyable. I would actually say my personal pick. There's all of the most of the songs on here I would say are like really solid. But my personal pick that was a song that I had missed because it actually was the B-side to Tabatai, their first single, but it came out on this album. They put it out on this album, so I got to hear it. Is their first Shin song, which is or Shin song, which is Shin Higaimoso, and that song is fucking badass. They were hiding that. They were hiding some gold with that. That's it starts with like really pronounced like drumming, and then just like this nice grooving dirty bass, and then like so it's already kind of quirky and building up hype, but it's just the breakdowns and the back and forth between throughout the song, with like the back and forth between like the breakdown chords and the shouting of the other members, and the vocalist just doing his like high-pitched whiny rambly thing that he does in some songs. It really was like grooving. It was like it really caught me like that one. So that one's probably my favorite track off the album so far. It could be just because I've had all the other ones on replay as I found them on YouTube and stuff, but like that one I'm really enjoying. So it was actually nice to get all of their old unreleased all their old stuff out there, because I'm pretty sure some of these singles are, sold out and stuff. So if you were at least able to snag a copy of the album, like that, that's probably the best. That's probably the best way to get a crash course in Mamireta at this point, is to get that album, and then maybe like check out the later stuff that they've just more recently put out, which we're about to get into actually. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that album, just in general. So, by the way, a lot of the songs on here, I guess, that were previous songs. I'm not sure if it's all of them, but some of them definitely were re-recorded or remastered. Like the Tabatai song is a re-recording on the album. Just a heads up. So maybe compare and contrast if you're like a diehard Mamireta fan, and let me know if any of the new ones if you think they sound better or worse, et cetera, et cetera. So all right, moving on. This band did not slow down at all. They put out a single in September called Kushami. I thought it was interesting. From here moving forward, it seems like Mamireta actually has started to experiment with like evolving just a little bit, like nothing to, nothing earth shattering, nothing that's going to alter their identity, but just kind of trying to branch out artistically and get into more traditional Visual K sounds. And I would say that this, that the title track here on Kushami is, is a good example of that, especially the chorus. I would say the B-sides, nothing stuck out to me too much, but like it's not like, again, it's not like it wasn't anything I didn't like either. Mamireta, just in general, it's kind of like I can just put on their whole discography and just like go, just rock out. It's just fun, and it's just, yeah, it's nice. It's consistent too, which is nice. Okay, so here, and we'll have an article out, soon, just covering these releases since they came out at the beginning of the month. It's just been difficult to get information about them, like fully confirmed, I would say, and just kind of, for like the limited amount of time I had, like there were other articles and stuff like news things to report, so it's on my list. I'm gonna get it out, especially now that it's more clear, like the names of all the songs, the way that they're organized, which ones line up with which. I have more sources to grab from than I did when it first came out, so it'll be easier for me to get these up. But they're releasing their 8th and 9th single, I believe. 8th and 9th single on the 3rd, actually, and December 3rd. And what's crazy about this is that, so we'll start with this one, which is, oh God, here we go. I almost feel like I need to get like an anime voice, and it'll like help me like pronounce better. So like this one is, Oreo hitsuyo to suru hito wa kono yononaka ni inai yo. Holy shit, I think that actually helped. Wow. Well then. Oh shit. God damn it. Okay. Anyway, so for example, both of these singles that we're going to go through, this one and the next one, they have I can't believe that worked. They each have two types. So we're dealing with two singles which both have two types, and the two types both have exclusive track lists outside of the title tracks. And so that basically combines for a grand total of 10 new tracks. So this band basically put out an album of sorts, just like across two singles in two types each. So like 4 types of God, it's I remember I was messaging with Shiro about this because we were like, I was gonna get her to help me write this article, and we were like coming up with different articles to like put out soon. Shiro's our news editor, and I was like looking into it, was like, you know what? Honestly, maybe we come back to this one once we get the other ones out, because like fuck this. Like it's so spread out everywhere, and there's and it's a small band, and stuff like that. So we're just like, I'm sitting there like, God, I don't want to put her through this. I may just go do this one myself. Chat shook by my anime voice. Yeah, it actually helped. I don't understand. Yeah. I guess that's it. So on this one, actually, I did get to listen to these singles. They are pretty solid. I would say largely they are still. It is Mamireta still continuing their general experimentation. With being a little bit more of, like playing around with a little bit more familiar VK, song archetypes, but there's plenty. It's like maybe 1 or 2 tracks, if that, per single. I would say, but there's like some noticeable ones. Like I believe Shin Tobacco is a ballad. Let me listen to this real quick, or let me let me pull up Shin Tobacco just to be. Well, first of all, let me make sure it doesn't come out the. I don't want to give fake news. Let's see here. There is a new Shin track on both, so I will grab this. Let me pull my iTunes. Am I using so much CPU that I can't even play my iTunes right now? That's kind of ironic. Okay, well, let me know if I got that right in the chat. One of those is actually, it is actually a ballad. I'm pretty sure it's Shin Tobacco. If not, it might be a different one. It was kind of surprising to hear that. It may be Shin Fugo. It may be Shin Fukujo Shi on the 9th single as opposed to the 8th single. But there were some songs on here I like the B-sides for. I'm just gonna spit out the knowledge since I have it for anyone that has already heard the singles. I know some people haven't gotten a hold of them yet, so. But I think the lead track on here does have a PV for it, and it is the title track, and that is a very, very them really the farthest they go to try and sound expand a bit more out and sound like make a standard VK song that's got the jaywalk vibe to it, I would say, but I think they do a decent job of it. I think if they just don't, as long as they don't spam it, which I don't see this band spamming this song structure, which is just due to the inherent nature of how they are. I don't think there's any problem with it. Cause of death, tobacco. Thanks, Mamireta. Yeah, basically. I would say what's the B-side on here? One of the B-sides I enjoyed was like I said, a lot of the B-sides outside of the ones that weren't doing experimentation, they with newer with just different kind of these are the songs you usually have as a band songs, like ballads and stuff like that. The rest of the tracks sounded even more underground, sounded even more kind of raw than their past tracks. I feel like just a little bit more, but they almost sounded like what would you call it, demo cuts. They were all fairly short in length. They were all kind of they sounded like studio demo cuts of just heavy raw sounds, and I thought that was an interesting vibe. So they really put out a ton of tracks, but I think they did them very fast and just kind of off the cusp, and just to get it out there and just kind of put it out there, just we're just messing around, and that kind of and just seeing what's up, and that kind of seems to be their general vibe, is that they just get stuff out really fast, and they don't worry too much about the polish on it, because they're just really fucking around, just trying to see what works and kind of expressing themselves. So it's they really do. I do literally mean this is very much a don't give a fuck kind of a band. But one of the heavier songs that feels like that demo cut, for example, I got a vibe out, a cool vibe out of, I thought it was catchy and, fun, nice and concise, was, It was it was Tonari. Well, sorry, fuck that up right from the start. Tonari no Seki no Hiwai-chan. Yeah, so that one worked quite well for me, and then but the rest of the tracks did as well. And then we'll jump over to and end with the ninth single, which was did not have a PV for it, but it is called Funsai Suruzo with the exclamation mark. That is a very heavy title track, so it would be cool if they had a PV for that, so they could be like, hey, our promo track, our lead track on this single, it's like really heavy, like lots of screaming. I actually think Mamireta does best when they strike a balance somewhere in between not too heavy and not too like stereotypically light and catchy. I feel like, but yeah, that was a brutal song. That was, the B-sides as well. There's a little bit of experimentation, but again, mostly adhering to that that general demo cut kind of vibe that honestly, like a lot of their songs have, but like it really felt pronounced on these two singles. I think, another particularly brutal song on it was Jitsuroku! Double exclamation mark. Ubeshi shonen otanato no senso. It's getting worse, but it was pretty good at the start. I can't overuse it, I think, is the problem. So yeah, that's their discography in a nutshell. There's a crash course for you. Vast majority of these, outside of the ninth single, have PVs. Multiple tracks from the album have PVs. Actually, if you look at Iku's track list, and you look at the PVs that are available on their YouTube channel, more than, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of 14, at least half, if not, slightly more to notably more than half of the tracks all have, I guess, at least a PV preview online on their YouTube channel. And most of those are full PVs. So, let's hide this. Go back to this. Hey, the effect is waning. Okay, but it's pretty good, right? I'll practice. Really, I should be trying to talk in that deeper voice anyway. It would be a better presentation voice. I won't do it so tropically though. I'll just start to sound better over time, and you won't notice it as I get back into my old speech training and public speaking training and start using my diaphragm a bit more. So, rip Jeff's pronunciation. Yeah, it was good. It was so young. It was so young and full of life, and so accurate for the small time that it was with us. Amen. Yeah, so the reason why I called this stream Mamireta, the band winning the internet, is that, like I said in the beginning, they are making a lot of moves online that I do think are really smart for a Japanese band on the internet, especially on YouTube. I'm going to pull up their... I'm going to pull up their YouTube channel for reference on my end. I won't show it, but I just kind of want to paint a picture for you about like what they're doing. So the virality aspect of this band is like, it's huge, right? And they know this, and they seem to be very, very astute. Or someone on their team or whatever seems to be very astute about how they, use it for like as little money as possible, for like as little effort as possible. Like I think they have, the members themselves have kind of embraced the fact that they're only so skilled as musicians, like especially the vocalist. I think he's kind of limited in range. I think someone mentioned in our Discord that they saw in an interview that Batsu said he didn't consider himself a particularly good singer. But he's kind of embraced his own like style and kind of found his own like indie niche kind of way of like making it as a vocalist, and it's on a band like Mamireta. Because there's more to being a vocalist, the front man of a band, than just being the vocalist. You have to be the front man. You have to, have stage presence and personality and all that stuff. And he's got that. He's got that in spades. And when you're a metal band, you don't need to sing very cleanly and nicely. And when you're like an underground band that doesn't give a fuck, like Mamireta, sometimes it works when you just do really rough or dissonant, like just kind of like talking like he does in some of his in some of the verses. So I think the fact that they're leaning in, that they just kind of doubled down on that whole vibe, and you can tell of like just being like a DIY indie band. They have, instead of like focusing on like scheduled, really nicely packaged releases that are crisply produced and like put out, they're almost going about like a VK equivalent of the SoundCloud rapper route, which is it's more about quantity. Like they're cutting tracks, they're putting them on singles, they're shooting PVs that are short and kind of funny and viral, and the editing on a lot of them is just kind of you can tell it's kind of low budget, like the concepts are low budget, but they're cleverly done to like keep you watching, and it's more there to make you laugh and entertain you than to be like, than to awe you and shock and awe you with like the sparkle effects and the, photoshopping, or I don't know what you call it in a video, I guess editing, the look of each member so that they look nice. It's like, well, what if we just made them look ugly and silly and had them do silly things? That's faster, I think it's, I think because not a lot of other bands were doing this, I think this worked out really well for them. And then they made a really smart move though with the song that they knew was going to be a hit, that like would be like a hit single kind of structured song for any band that they came up with, was Ojamashimas. And that song, like I said, the PV is highly edited. It's well done. It's well put together. It's engaging. It's enjoyable to watch. And then it's also on top of that still equally as entertaining. But it's like even the PVs that came after it they were just going out there to keep them in your head, to keep Mamireta in your head. But so you could tell they invested in the right PV. Because as catchy as the song is, the video is also goes along quite well with the catchiness. So they spent money on that one. So here's the thing, right? So Mamireta is at, so like I said earlier, Ojamashimas is at 618,000 views, okay? To monetize a YouTube channel, you need to have at least 1,000 subscribers. They have 7.4 thousand, and then you need to consistently maintain at least 200 or at least 5,000 hours of watch time within a 1 year period, or 4,000 hours, excuse me. 4,000 hours of total watch time. So that's like every person that's watched it, including multiple times that's watched your videos. YouTube tracks how many minutes of each video a person watches, and totals it all up. So it sounds like a lot, but the reality of the situation is, if basically it's like 4,000 hours is actually 240,000 minutes, right? you have a PV like Ojamashimas that's very, that they had those very viral. It's at 618,000 views. Even if every person only watched an average of a minute of it and just thought it was hilarious and then turned it off, they have their monetization easily because of that. Even with like, and it wasn't like this high like always, obviously. So like even with like a smaller, like their fourth most watched PV is or their third most watched PV. Let's do their third most viewed PV to kind of, since it's a little bit more, since it's relevant, I guess, which was it was Shinmushi. So Shinmushi has 83,000 views. Let's say, and it's 4 minutes long. Let's say they watched like 3 minutes or something each. You're right at 240,000 views just off of that. So they put these out quickly over like a year-long period of time, and doing that has allowed them to monetize their channel without making a bunch of, one might argue, cringy YouTube videos or diverting time away from like making music to like do stuff for their channel or do anything extra. So they baked in all of like the entertainment that you might come to expect to see on YouTube, from videos that are not music videos, right? Like you're probably on YouTube for like music or like entertainment. They put it in both, and that draw, and then putting out the singles and videos so quickly allowed them to monetize their channel very, very quickly. Now, how do I know that they monetize their channel, you might ask? I know this because Mamireta has started live streaming on YouTube. If you're up, so over here, I'm in the Eastern time zone. It's coming up on 6 p.m. here. If you're up at around like 3 a.m. my time, over in Japan, that's like in the afternoon, they're usually up live streaming. And they actually recently did a 24-hour live stream that included them live streaming a performance. They had like the camera like on the backstage off to the side. So that they could, shooting them from like, stage right, I think, or would be stage left. Anyway, if you were in the audience, it's like the camera is up backstage on the right, filming them from that side. And I was paying attention to that. There were a lot of super chats rolling in. For anyone who knows or who doesn't know, when you monetize your YouTube channel, the tipping thing that we have for people who want to support us, send a message and stuff on VKH Live, that is like the independent version of the YouTube Super Chat. But when you monetize your channel, in the chat, there will be a little money button that appears. You can click it, and depending on the dollar amount you give, there's a certain number of characters you can type, and then it's good practice for the the YouTuber that you're sending your money to read from the super chat, to read the super chats that come in. And that's how like live streamers on YouTube support themselves financially. So Mamireta is in full blown like doing it right mode as far as managing their own YouTube channel and getting everything like that going. They're doing it right, and they're making money off of it. There was a good deal of money that came in from the live streams I saw. I'll pay attention a little bit more, but it was a decent amount. So hopefully word will spread to the other indie bands, because this is a small band. I think they finally stumbled upon like the reality of the situation, which is that a small band that still has a lot of star power and virality, and personality like Mamireta, you get on this YouTube stuff. I'm telling you, get on this live streaming stuff. There's people there's people like me that I'm just a guy commenting on this stuff that, we've done okay ourselves in the past. There's random people like that just start this up, find a topic and figure it out, and eventually they're able to build a living off of it. Someone with star power and with like a following like Mamireta doing this, like I've been espousing this to every person I can in the industry, like everywhere, that it's like, I'm telling you, this is how you get your indie bands to support themselves. Like pay attention to the stuff Mamireta is doing, because they're doing it right. And I hope this will lead to more indie bands doing this. And this will add more financial safety nets for these newer bands that are getting savvier and savvier with the internet. So that is how Mamireta is winning the internet at this moment. As a girl says, Mamireta learned to harness that sweet YouTube money. I watched their live on YouTube. It was like you were watching them perform, but you were backstage. It started around 3:40 a.m. with them waiting backstage with live chat reading comments. I agree. I remember that. I was an insomniac that night, so I was up and checking in and out of that. I tuned in right in time for Ojamashimas, and was also, saw them before and after. But yeah, like all they would even have to do is like, super chat at least this much money, and the band will read your comment. Like if you want to get like really, like if you like really have to like sell it to somebody in management, like why would we want to do this? It's like, that's why, that's how. There's people out here all over the world that are trying to figure out ways to financially support like tiny bands that they like a whole lot, but can't even like order their physical CDs, or can't like download their music, like buy their music because it's not on iTunes or streaming services, and they have trouble ordering the physical CDs because they sell out, because it's such a small band. This is the way you want to do it, man. This is the way you want to do it. This would be perfect. There are people that will throw money at these bands just to let them know that there is support, because they have no other way to financially support them if they're in, say, like Brazil, for example, or even here in the States if it's a small enough band. So yeah, that's about it, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up because I ran a little bit late, geeking out about how Mamireta's winning the internet, and I gotta get set up for this Kizu live stream, but. So thank you so much for tuning in to hear all about Mamireta. I'm glad we finally got to talk about this band. Glad finally got to like get my thoughts on record, get everything out here. Got the stream going the way I wanted it to go. This is what happens when you persevere, guys. Perseverance is key. And see, I even persevered so hard, I discovered an anime voice that may continue to help me pronounce things better in the future. So what a good start to the night, huh? Okay, guys, if you like this, hit like, please share around. If you're new, hit subscribe. If you want more streams, this is part of our holiday stream schedule. The full link, the article with the full list of streams is down below. Also join our Discord. A lot of the people watching and hanging out in chat are here from Discord. This was an earlier... this stream was scheduled earlier, so a lot, so I always but I always make sure to get the word out in Discord if nowhere else. It's easier to follow this stuff that way. And I will be right back with a Kizu stream for you guys. So lots of dope bands, dope artists tonight. So let's just keep it rolling. And I hope to see more great memes from Mamireta. Those of you in the Discord or when you join the Discord, make us some Mamireta memes. They don't have to be GIFs. They can be like still images or either or. Let's see some Mamireta memes. And And yeah, I will see you guys in a bit. Later.